The Montgomery Ward Company complex that dominates the north branch of the Chicago River served as the company headquarters from 1908 to 2001. Founded in 1872, Montgomery Ward was a catalog sales company that aimed to sell merchandise of every sort directly to its customers. Ward soon became a favorite source of goods due to its reasonable prices and satisfaction guarantee. By 1899, the company was serving over 2 million customers and dominating the city of Chicago. In that year, Richard E. Smith and Hugh Gordon designed for the company a 19th century commercial skyscraper, later known as the Montgomery Ward & Co. Tower Building. It occupied an entire block front at 6 North Michigan Avenue between Washington Street and Madison Street in downtown Chicago. Described as the busy beehive, the building was a symbol of Montgomery Ward's significance in the city of Chicago. The original building combined Chicago school-style design with decorative Renaissance accents. The terracotta ornamentation was of indigenous plants, birds, and fish. At the top of the building was an observation deck with the view of the lakefront. This was especially significant as Aaron Montgomery was a prominent figure in the battle to save Chicago's lakefront. In the early 1900s, when he looked out of his building on Michigan Avenue, he saw a mess of buildings and trash in what he knew was supposed to be a park for everyone to enjoy. Acting on these thoughts, he brought to Chicago the beautiful lakefront it boasts today. A year after it was built, the building was topped with a 4-story tower and a 22.5-foot statue modeled by J. Massey Ryan and dubbed Progress Lighting the Way for Commerce. The weather vane depicted goddess Diana in the form of a naked woman holding a torch in one hand and a caduceus in the other. Ryan's neoclassical sculpture was inspired partly by Augustus St. Gordon's Diana, which stood on the agricultural building at the 1893 Chicago World's Fair. The statue initially stood atop Madison Square Garden in New York, but once the decision to host the World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago instead of New York was made, the statue was brought from New York to Chicago. In 1947, the 4-story tower and the weather vane were dismantled due to safety reasons. The statue of Diana was cut up into multiple parts. Diana's arm with outstretched spear came off at the shoulder. The head came off in one piece and one leg below the knee. The request for pieces of the metal for souvenirs was amazing. All the pieces were auctioned off to Chicagoans, the last of which was auctioned off in 2014 after being stored for over 50 years. In 1929, a statue designed by George Mulligan was placed on top of the new Ward headquarters in the company complex. This was called the Spirit of Progress. This sculpture still remains today. It's a new figure but still represents Diana in the same way that the weather vane did. She holds Mercury's caduceus, symbol of commerce and negotiation, and points the way to future success. While both the buildings in question have now been converted into residential areas, the statue of Diana that stands today still embodies Montgomery Ward's glorious past and his contribution to defining Chicago's identity as well as American life.